What's good, yo? I'm Matt. I'm doing a video about black art. This specific installment is about hip hop and rap music, and it's what I would consider some of the most accessible albums to get you started if you've never heard some of all of this. If you've never heard hip hop, is the term I'm trying to think of. Or if you've only heard one or two of these, if you've only heard if you only heard like one or two of these, this is what I would say is the easiest listens. Um, Now this whole thing isn't listed. It's not in order of like most the thing you should listen to the most and then the thing you should listen to the least. I think that this is more so just like whatever floats your boat. You know what I mean? Whatever sounds the most interesting to you. The only thing that is listed though is this Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick is what I've shown people who want to get into hip hop but don't know where to start. This is like the perfect example of an album that it's still very specifically hip hop. It's not it's taking things from other like genres. It's like very soulful. Um Parts of it. I think Kendrick sings on it, or maybe he's just doing his like little baby voice, whatever. Kendrick is known for crazy inflections, if you didn't know. But I think this album is really great because it's very hip hop, but it's very, in my opinion, easy to understand. The story is so good that the story is so good and it's so easy to follow that it makes the experience of listening to a new genre easier, in my opinion. Um, this is one of the first albums I've ever heard in my entire life. And even as a kid who didn't really understand what was happening on it fully, I could feel there was just so much to this album. It was just very amazing. Um, I remember trying to get into other albums after Good Kid, Mad City and questioning why the fuck they're not the same. Like this set a standard for my little brain that was way too high. But yeah, the Good Kid, Mad City is great. A lot of people would put To Pimp a Butterfly over Good Kid, Mad City in terms of what to listen to first. I would say that good. I would say To Pimp a Butterfly is a little bit more dense and it's harder to follow. I think that it's a better album. I think that they're both 10 out of 10s. Not that numbers really matter anyways, but I think that they're both masterpieces is my point. But I think that a lot of what happens on this album is it'll be too complicated for some people to understand. Like as a first listen in a new genre, if that makes sense. Um that's my only gripe with it in terms of giving it to a new listener. I do think that it's still important to put it here, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. I think that Good Kid Mad City, I think specifically also Good Kid Mad City gives a lot of context to what happens on To Pimp a Butterfly. A lot of the things that he says are related, like directly related to Pimp a Butterfly. I think that this makes more sense to put in second, quote unquote, second place. Everything else is unlisted though. I have JID, The Forever Story. So at first, I was going to put JID in the second installment for people who have heard a few of all of the things in my very, very beginner list, which is this one. I was going to put him in the second installment where it's you've heard some of these. You've heard Kendrick Lamar, you've heard Tyler the Creator, you've heard some of the other things I'm going to say, and you're wondering where to go next and where is some of the music that would be sort of similar. I was going to put him in the second installment, but after re-listening, I feel like a lot of the things that happen here would make sense for somebody who is trying to get into the genre, and I feel like it's a good example of what this genre can do and like the differences that you can hear in hip hop. I think that this album is like very good at that. It there's like a lot of very good like pop music that is like more I don't want to say aggressive, but like quicker pace. There's a lot more energy in it. Dance Now is a good example of that. And then there's a lot of more soulful parts. JID even sings on this, and his singing voice is like fantastic. Cody Blue is the song that he sings on. It's great. Um, it has a lot of very good, important stories on it as well. System M and Money, I feel like, are very good examples of really good writing and storytelling. Um, yeah, I think that this album is kind of just like a good example of a lot of the things that you could hear off of a what can you expect from hip hop. I think it's multifaceted, and I think JID does it very well. It's still very much specifically a hip hop album, and I wouldn't say it's experimental. It's like very solidified in that. Not to say it's like not bad that it's not experimental. But yeah, that's my point. Um, I'm trying to move fast so that all of this makes sense, and like I just kind of keep the ball rolling. Metaphorical Music by Nujabes is the next pick I have. This is a lo-fi hip hop album. It's jazz rap. This is a very good example of some of the most beautiful production I've ever heard in this genre. This is one of my favorite albums I think of all time. This holds a very important place in my heart and in my soul and in my ears. Um, I think a lot of that is specifically the production. Nujabes is a producer. He doesn't rap, at least to my knowledge. Maybe he's like rapped, and it's just like a really old song that like nobody knows. But he's a producer, and the majority of the songs on here have rappers on it that will rap over the beat that he made. It's some of the best. It's just like he picked very good rappers, and you can tell how much love and care went into this from both ends, from the vocalist and the producer. It's great. It's beautiful. This is a classic in the lo-fi hip hop uh, like subgenre, if that makes sense. Next up, I have Ginger by Brockhampton. Brockhampton is they call themselves a boy band, so there are multiple rappers. I think there's a vocalist. There might be two. It's like a bunch of people, and they like lived in this house, and they did a bunch of music together under Brockhampton. I chose Ginger because I think it has a lot of easy to listen to parts of it. A lot of it is specifically more chill. I don't want to say jazz, but like it's like just like more mellow hip hop. There's some points where it gets crazy, and it's like both they do both of that very good. But I think that this is like a very good like intimate album. There's a lot of sad things being said, and like just like very important introspection. Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator is we're kind of moving more into a conceptual territory. It's not super solidified in its concept, but it has a very nice concept. This is another introspective, chill album with very beautiful production on it. Yeah, Tyler is very good at making very beautiful production, and Flower Boy is like a very important turning point in his career, and I think it revitalized it. Flower Boy, I think, is the reason why a lot of things in hip hop is the way it is. I think that this is like a very important part of the story of hip hop. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, Flower Boy is great. It's kind of just about him understanding himself and like the world he lives in. The concept of it is like Tyler's driving around in his car, and he's thinking about his life, and he's like thinking about the things in it. And like yeah, there's like points where like things happen in it. This is the album where he came out as bisexual or like not straight. That's another reason why I love this album. it very beautifully tackles that concept on a rap album, which isn't something that has really been done on this level before. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's fascinating. I think it's interesting. I think it's some of the most beautiful Tyler production. I would say this has my favorite song from Tyler ever, Garden Shed. I don't know if I put that in the playlist or not, but yeah. Second Tyler album I have here is Igor. Igor is very, 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 very specifically a concept album. This is, I think, is his most cohesive concept album. Like the concept on this is like the thread that like pulls it together instead of it just being like a collection of cool songs that like tackle the same topics, if that makes sense. This is like it's a breakup album. The production on it is like very, it's mixed very weirdly in a way that like is it's very expressive to how the way Tyler feels from song to song, and it has some of the craziest moments. This album has another very serious contender for my favorite Tyler song. It has like a few, honestly. Yeah, New Magic Wand is great. Gone Gone slash Thank You is like another amazing one. He raps on this, but I wouldn't consider this a hip hop album. This is more soul. This is more neo soul specifically. But this album is a very good starter for some of the things that hip hop can do and like some of the other black genres and like meshing of them. Uh, I think this is a very good example of like all of that, which is like great.
What's good, y'all? This is editing Matt. I was editing up this video and I was realizing that I talked way too long about all of these, and I feel like I could just be more specific and like just quick with it. So, MF Doom, what just happened? Hello? Okay. Slideshow. Cool. There was an issue. There's an issue I have with MF Doom. I feel like MF Doom is put up in front of new listeners, and I think for the most part that's like a good idea. But like for me personally, I didn't really understand the quality of MF Doom and like what he's doing that's like so interesting and cool until way later in my personal like music listening journey. So that's why I haven't put anything here. I'm gonna talk about MF Doom more in the second video. Uh, More about some of like slightly deeper cuts and like things that are just a little bit more complicated. Um, yeah, so that's my gripe with MF Doom. It's not really a gripe. It's just like I wouldn't put him for new listeners, but I see other people do, so that's why he's here. Chromacopia by Tyler the Creator. That's the album in the top right. That was going to be in the place of Igor, but I recently listened to Igor again, and I felt like it just has a lot of cool, interesting ideas, and I think it's worth a shot over Chromacopia. But Chromacopia is also good. It has some of the same elements that Igor does, like all of the soulful production and stuff. I think it's more so a rap album than Igor was, but it's very interesting, and there are songs on it that feel like they're in the same world as Igor, but just with a little bit more shimmer on it. I think all the production on it is live too, which is like kind of interesting. Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. I put this here. I have not given a full album by them a good serious listen, so that's why it's not on here. But the singles that I've put in the playlist I think are quality, and I think that they're worth listening to. Sample-based, sample-heavy production, which is like awesome and great. Next one I have in the bottom right is Damn by Kendrick Lamar. It's not my favorite Kendrick Lamar. It's the most popular one. So the reason it's here is it's like pop accessibility. It also just does have some of my favorite Kendrick Lamar songs, Fear and Element and DNA. There's a bunch on here that's like really good. The gist of Kendrick on this album is that he is very upset with the world, and it's the most pessimistic Kendrick Lamar album. I feel like
there's an underlying thread of hopefulness in a lot of the evilness that happens throughout the world in all of the other Kendrick Lamar albums. Um, and I mean, this album does end hopeful, but it's like it's a very negative, pessimistic album in comparison to the other Kendrick Lamar albums. Yeah, that's the video. This is my second editing thing because I just cannot stop yapping about "Damn" by Kendrick Lamar.